What has your child's school done that got you so mad you went in and read the riot act to the teacher or principal? My daughter Taylor was coming home hungry every single day, and I couldn't figure out why. I pack her lunch every morning: turkey sandwich, apple slices, little notes that say, "You're awesome," because that's what moms do. But she'd walk through the door at 3:30 starving like she hadn't eaten all day. I figured maybe she was going through a growth spurt or something. Kids eat constantly when they're growing, right? Then last Tuesday I was putting her backpack away and felt something heavy inside. I unzipped it and found her entire lunch still sitting there untouched. The sandwich was soggy and gross. The apple slices were brown. Even the little bag of crackers was still sealed. I called Taylor over and asked what was going on. She just started crying immediately. That's when she told me about Mrs. Davidson. Apparently this woman made a rule that only school lunches were allowed in her classroom because packed lunches were too distracting. But here's the thing. She never sent a note home, never made an announcement, nothing. She just quietly started collecting all the homemade lunches from kids as they walked into class each morning. She'd smile and say, "I'll keep this safe for you," and put them in this plastic storage bin behind her desk. Told the kids they could have them back after school. But most days she'd forget or just wouldn't bother. Taylor and probably 6 other kids in that class had been going without lunch for over a week. I was absolutely furious. I called 3 other moms and found out their kids had the same thing happening. Little Jake Morrison had been eating crackers from the teacher's snack drawer because he was so hungry. Emma Walsh was trading her milk money for half a granola bar from another kid. These children were literally going hungry because one teacher decided packed lunches were too much trouble. The next morning I showed up at school with a duffel bag. Inside were 12 packed lunches from all the parents I'd called. I marched straight into Mrs. Davidson's classroom at 8:15 a.m. and dumped that bag right on her desk. She looked at me like I was crazy and started explaining how packed lunches cause allergies and food envy and all this other nonsense. I cut her off. "You don't get to starve children because you have control issues." I told her my daughter had gone over 30 hours without real food, and that was completely unacceptable. She tried to say it was school policy, but I knew that was garbage because my friend's kid in the other 3rd grade class brought lunch every day with no problems. Then she said something that really set me off. She told me maybe if parents fed their kids better breakfast, they wouldn't need so much lunch. I completely lost it. I told her she was out of line and that I was going straight to the principal's office. She actually tried to stop me by saying we could work something out. I went to Principal Martinez and explained everything. Want to know what made it even worse? He already knew about it. He'd approved Mrs. Davidson's system because she complained that cleanup was taking too long and some kids were trading food items during lunchtime. He thought her solution was efficient. I asked him if he realized children were going hungry, and he just shrugged, said kids could buy school lunch if they wanted food. When I pointed out that not every family can afford to spend $5 a day on cafeteria food, he told me the school had programs for that. I asked if any of these parents had been informed about programs or even told about the lunch policy. He admitted they hadn't. That's when I really went off. I told him I was drafting a letter to the school board that night describing how his staff was literally starving children without telling their parents. I said I'd also be contacting our local newspaper because I was pretty sure they'd be interested in a story about kids going hungry at school while their lunches sat in a plastic bin getting moldy. I even pulled out my phone and started typing the letter right there in his office. Oakwood Elementary School has been confiscating student lunches without parental notification, forcing children to go without food for hours at a time. I read it out loud as I typed. His face went white. Within 10 minutes, he was calling Mrs. Davidson down to the office. She came in looking smug like she expected him to back her up. Instead, he told her the lunch policy was ending immediately, and she needed to return all confiscated lunches to students that day. She tried to argue, but he shut it down fast.